Could we maybe say a North London European double this season with Arsenal winning the Champions League?
They really showed massive spirit. Some might have said it was a free hit with it being a 3-1, but PSG are a fantastic side.
Carlo Ancelotti's going to lose his job off the back, and a lot of people will focus on Real Madrid. The whole does. They've been knocked.
This season with Arsenal winning the Champions League, maybe. What a couple of performances for them, Chris. Sure. Knocking out the holders over two legs, beating them convincingly at the Emirates, and then going to the Bernabeu and beating them again. Just how impressive was that?
Very, very. You know, a lot of people, and obviously it looks as if Carlo Ancelotti's going to lose his job off the back, and a lot of people will focus on Real Madrid, the holders, they've been knocked out. But Arsenal were unbelievable over two legs. You know, you look at the performances, you know, you sign special players and you ask them to step up in big moments, and that's exactly Declan Rice, Odegaard, Saka coming back in as well. You need these guys in big moments. Jules, I mean, I said it to you this morning as well, Timber goes under the radar for me as well. You know, I think he's a fantastic defender. When he's missing, you know he's obviously missing because of his level of performances. I think 1v1 he can deal with the best in the world. We've seen that the other night there. A really, really top defender. I wouldn't rule out Arsenal beating PSG. I mean, I know you look at you go back a few weeks ago, and because of the performance that PSG put in against Liverpool, and you know, deserved to knock them out, and Liverpool were flying at the top of the Premier League, and everybody was saying, you know, you've knocked the favourites out, and all of a sudden then PSG jumped to favourites. I thought there was vulnerability against them again with Aston Villa. You know, we've seen that on the counter-attack they are fantastic, but I wouldn't rule this Arsenal team out. You know, they've got, for me, pretty much everything apart from a number 9. But, you know, Moreno, I think, does a job. He's more compact in that midfield area that allows him to build through the pitch. But, not only to dismantle Real Madrid at the Emirates, but then to go to the Bernabeu and the performance that they did over there was incredible. That other semi-final is going to be very interesting as well. Inter Milan, you know, they just keep going along. Nobody's really speaking about them because of, you know, obviously Barcelona, but they've just knocked out Bayern Munich as well, and they're a proper team. They're a proper football team. You know, Barcelona, yeah, because of the history and the tradition, the way they've been playing. But, you know, everybody thinks the winner's going to come from this semi-final of PSG and Arsenal. I wouldn't rule out Inter Milan either.
And Lee, obviously you've been watching Villa very closely up against PSG, and boy, did they push them in that second leg. Did they show Arsenal something of a blueprint then on how you can hurt this Paris side?
Yeah, I think so. I think at home they've been excellent, PSG have, and, you know, going over there and witnessing what it's all about. I think Arsenal are probably a bit more streetwise than what Villa were, so that's why I feel that Arsenal can go and beat PSG. And I think in that midfield area, you know, I think that's where I could identify that they sort of run all over Villa at PSG. But away from home, you could see the vulnerability, you know, the chances that Villa created, caused. And it surprised me, you know, to think that they were well in control of that tie. You're 2-0 up at Villa Park, and how they sort of crumbled, and all of a sudden it was backs against the wall and another goal. You know, you're starting to think Villa could go and win the tie and go through. And that's credit to Villa. You know, I think that they really showed massive spirit. Some might have said it was a free hit with it being a 3-1, but PSG are a fantastic side. They really are. I'm with Boydie. I think Arsenal can go and beat these. I think for me, they go and beat these. I think they go and win the Champions League. I really do. And he will be sort of, I know we're talking about eggs in your basket. I think that's what his focus is going to be, isn't it? Winning the Champions League, and this is key. So I think that they can go and do PSG. I think they'll do a job on them there, and I think they'll beat them at home.
Wow, Arsenal fans will like the sound of that. Lee thinks they can knock them out. What do the bookies think about it? And I presume Arsenal are favourites. Yeah, they've beaten under 15-time winners. No, it's Barcelona favourites 2-1. It's PSG 9-4. It's Arsenal third favourites, and Inter Milan are the outsiders, despite the fact they just don't concede goals this season in the Champions League.
I mean, you look very relaxed, very relaxed. I wasn't at the beginning, but I am now. It was a great performance. Arsenal completely dominated Real Madrid in their own backyard. All the players battled really hard. They were very organised, put in top performances. I have to say, Declan Rice, over both legs, he was colossal in that midfield. He really led by example. Saka scored a great goal. And then just at the end there, Martinelli topped it off with a great counter-attack. And it was Marino, who picked the ball up on the edge of the box. He's played a great through ball. The back line of Real Madrid couldn't step up because they're in their own half. And then Martinelli's used his speed, gone through, come across the defender and just slotted it, Henry-like finish to make it 5-1. I did say 5-1. And it was like easy work, really. They're the holders. We've beaten 5-1. It was really easy. They've had like 2 shots on target. You know, obviously they scored a goal, mistake by Saliba, but overall it was a great performance by Arsenal.
A momentous night for Arsenal, but also for Mikel Arteta as well, to essentially demolish the holders, Real Madrid.
And that's exactly what it was. It really was. They had no idea. It's not the Real Madrid I recognise. You know, when we think about the great Real Madrid sides, we think about Ronaldo, you know, Benzema, turning up, putting in big performances, scoring big goals when needed, like sort of Toni Kroos they needed tonight. Some invention, some imagination, some of them cute passes that they play. There was none of that tonight, none of that at all. And it was just, there was crossing the ball from deep. And I don't know what their game plan was, to be honest, because they were just putting like willy-nilly crosses in from deep, from wide. But there was no, you know, Mbappe, he's not an out-and-out striker. He doesn't fancy getting on the end of things. Arsenal defenders were happy with that. If you had said to the Arsenal defenders before this tie started, will you be happy just defending crosses? They would have been, yeah, no problem. It was a poor performance from Real Madrid tonight, and you know the fans were, you know, very frustrated. They were whistling, you know, towards the end of the first half. Obviously, Ancelotti's, you know, disappointed. But to say that that's the holders of Champions League and you've gone out by losing 5-1 is really poor tonight.
And Arsenal through to the semi-finals where they'll play Paris Saint-Germain. What chance Arsenal to get by then?
Again, another tough game. Paris Saint-Germain have got some really good young players, a very quick front line, a bit like Real Madrid's front line. But again, I think that Arsenal have the minerals to get this done because defensively, they're so well organised. Kiwior stepped in for Gabriel. If I'm honest, I thought that Real Madrid players might kind of, you know, try and hang around him because he hasn't played as much as, you know, other players have in this Arsenal squad. But he's come in and he's done really well. And then Timber's put in a solid performance. I feel like, and I said this at the beginning of the season, if Arsenal are going to win a title, when I say title, I mean like the league or the Champions League, it's going to be because of the defence. Arsenal's defence is one of the best in the world. They're very solid, they're very good in one-on-one situations, and that's what you need in this day and age, in this kind of game. So I feel like they can deal with Paris Saint-Germain's threats as well.
And tell us more about Declan Rice's performance tonight, out of this world, and particularly up against Jude Bellingham as well. Those two had a right fight tonight. Yeah,
they had a few arguments on the pitch as well. I mean, that goes to show you, you know, when you're playing against another team, whether it's your friend or not, you've got no friends in football when it comes to you playing against your mate. And that's what he's done tonight. He's put in a very mature performance. I always say with Declan Rice, you know, he's not wearing the captain's armband, but he's the leader in that side. He leads by example. He demands off all of his players. I mean, just there at the end, Partey got a yellow card, which was poor from him, really. He got involved with something with Rudiger that he didn't need to. And Declan Rice is having a go at it and saying, what are you doing? You don't need to get involved in that silliness. And that's what captains do. And he's done that over 2 legs. He's been colossal in that midfield. And Partey was, to be fair to him, he kept Bellingham quiet. I didn't even see Bellingham